All right, we are back. Another episode of We Are the Ones podcast. This is a podcast where we have extraordinary conversations with extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. Come on. You know, the first time I did it, I was fumbling over my words. I was like, extraordinary. I was like, I didn't know what the heck I was saying. I got it down? Come on. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so we're super excited, to have a really dope guest with us today. Super dope guest. We're going to get into the introduction in a minute, but Avi, as always, how's everything?
So this week we have been hit.
Yeesh.
We have been hit hard. Buffalo is finally showing herself once again.
Yes, she is. She's showing her whole ass right now.
But it wouldn't be Buffalo without it. But I will say though, the weather does say that we're supposed to get back in the 40s and 50s. So
that means that this Snowmageddon that we got is going to melt?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Probably to rev up again, but that's okay because we need it gone first.
It's crazy because Buffalo was known for snow, right? Obviously. Yes. I mean, we're no stranger to snow or anything like that, but this was just different. I can't remember the last time we got hit like this.
No, it's been a minute.
It's been a while since we got hit like this.
Yeah.
And people be thinking like, oh, Buffalo, they think it's like Alaska or something, but it's just like, I'm like, no, I'm like, we get snow just like everybody else gets snow,
right.
But this was just different.
Time, especially because some of our surrounding areas got 77 inches. Yeah. That's like 6 feet of snow.
It's crazy because down in the South Towns where the Buffalo Bills play, they said that they got so much snow down there that only, I think it was 4 or 5 players who play for the Bills were taller than the snow. Only 4 or 5. That goes to show you how much snow. And I would hate to be in the South Towns. Yo, salute to everybody that's down in the South Towns right now. We hope
y'all did y'all thing.
Yeah, y'all are a special type of people down there to deal with that because, baby, ain't no way. Ain't no way.
That's okay, but the Bills got to win though.
Yeah, we did.
Yes,
we did. Thank God.
We needed that.
Thank God, because I'm just like,
my goodness.
Sheesh. And listen. I don't want to talk. Yeah, I don't want to talk about the game, but I got a little nervous toward the end. You know what I mean?
I did too.
I just like,
and that's the thing. I'm like, why are we doing this right now?
Yeah, I'm just like, why y'all know how to make a brother's blood pressure go up? Like seriously, this is crazy. But
that's why I stopped watching.
But we got the W though, so that's all that matters.
All right, so let's get to it.
Why
don't you introduce our guest for tonight?
Listen, this brother, man, is such a phenomenal individual, a phenomenal human being. I've had the opportunity to know this guy for a long time. We go back to the bruh days when my man was out here, shooting every party, when photographer.
I'm sorry, what's bruh?
We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that in a minute. So he was out here just being a photographer extraordinaire at all of the parties back in the Crown Entertainment days, I mean, he was like all of the pictures that you remember from them, that was him.
Wow.
It was all him, so I've had the opportunity to work with him on some projects, some different events and things that I've done over the course of the years. He was, right before he left Buffalo, actually, he was an honoree for the Changemakers 30 Under 30 Awards.
Nice. Okay. Now it's coming to me because I'm like, I know I've seen him.
Yeah, I mean, you've definitely seen him around. You definitely, I mean, the swaggiest. I mean, listen, this he can humble flex right now. So I'm like, I try. Like, I need y'all to follow this man on Instagram, official Keith Williams. Right? Official Keith W. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And y'all see, just go back on,
everything.
I mean, he was rocking the beards before all of us was rocking the beards.
Oh,
yeah, big time. You know what I mean?
I started that.
He definitely did. But he's made an amazing transition moving from Buffalo to LA. and he went to go pursue his dreams, right? Of becoming an actor and just being in the industry.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's been doing some phenomenal things since he's been out there, and we're going to talk about some of those things. So with that, I would like to introduce my friend, my brother, Mr. Keith Williams.
Keith,
What's up, man?
Welcome.
How you doing, bro?
Great to see you, man.
Man, it's always good to see you, bro. Like every time I see, I reach out to you from time to time just to tell you, like, bro, I'm just proud of you, man.
Yes,
I'm proud of you because,
that,
like, you have really, you transcended, man. Like from where you were, again, starting out at those photography days, to where you are now, like winning, like pageants and international pageants. Like my man is doing amazing things. Like
it's been a roller coaster, man.
Man, like game shows, like national commercials. Like my man is doing it, and we're gonna talk about a little bit of everything. But
okay.
Thank you, man. Thank you for coming to the pod today. We really appreciate
man.
you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for
Jamil
inviting
was
me.
very
Thank you for inviting
excited
me.
about you. He was like, "Yo, my man here in Buffalo." I'm like, "Okay, let's go.
Gotta get it done.
Yeah, we gotta get it done. I know he's only in town for a little bit, so I'm just like, I gotta scoop him up real quick before. But again, thank you for coming, bro. So we want to talk about like your career, your transition, and everything. But one of the things that we like to do on this pod is kind of go back, kind of tell that story of how you got to where you are, right?
Yes.
So kind of just start, how'd you get your start in this space, man? Like again, you started. In the photography days, we were talking about earlier, you used to go by Bruh. So like,
oh, that was his name.
Yeah, that was his name. That was his nickname, Bruh.
I'm thinking like, is this like another fraternity I don't know about?
Nah. That was my man's whole name out here. You know what I'm saying? But
so, Bruh, it came when I was about 12 years old, and I used to go to this summer camp called Cradle Beach Camp. And, a lot of the guys, they used to play basketball at the basketball courts and stuff. But I also had long hair at the time.
I remember that. I remember those.
Hair. My hair was
I didn't know you back then, but I saw pictures. Yeah.
12 years old, every summer, Cradle Beach Camp. And a lot of people used to call me Lil Bow Wow.
Okay. Yeah. I can,
light skin, long hair. Okay.
Right.
So one of my homies to this day, Byron Peterson.
Okay. Yeah.
He's the one who gave me that nickname. He's like, I ain't about to call you Lil Bow Wow. You little bruh. You little bruh. I was the littlest one on the court though. Like I felt like I would have never had a growth spurt in my life. I was small,
really?
long braids, playing basketball. They picked me because I was looking like Lil Bow Wow. But that's how the name Bruh came in.
Okay, and then it stuck with you.
And it stuck with me. The thing is, I forgot about it. Kind of when you're growing up, you kind of forget a little portion of your life. Some things aren't as, just there.
Yeah.
It's not as vivid.
Yeah.
So I think I was at Delaware Park playing basketball. And it was, I think my freshman year in high school. And I ran into one of the other guys at that basketball court. I didn't quite recognize him at the time, but then he just threw all of this stuff at me. And I'm like, oh, you was with so-and-so at Cradle Beach. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm the one that gave you that nickname. And I'm like, but this wasn't Byron. This was one of the other taller basketball players.
Okay.
I'm like, this wasn't Byron at the time. But fast forward, I ran into Byron and I told Byron that I ran into a homie.
Okay.
And he was like, man, he ain't give you that nickname. I gave you that nickname.
Now they fighting over your name.
They fighting over it and stuff. I'm like, you know what? Both of y'all the big homies, man. I appreciate what y'all did for me when I was a kid, man. Y'all helped me feel included. Because like everybody was tall on the court and I wasn't getting chosen. So, they looked out for me. That's
crazy.
It took me under their wing, big homie. And, to this day, we all still cool.
That's what's up.
That's how the name Bruh came. And then all of Buffalo found out about it somehow.
Yeah. And speaking of Buffalo, so you Buffalo born and bred, family.
Buffalo, born, raised, family, roots, all of it is here.
Okay.
All of my first cousins, my sisters, my brothers.
Any brothers, sisters?
All of them. How many?
Yeah.
12.
It's 12 of y'all?
What?
12 of us. 12 of us.
Was y'all living in the same house?
So I would say my mom got 5 girls, 2 boys.
Okay.
Sheesh.
My dad got 5 boys, 2 girls.
Wow.
And I'm the second oldest. I'm the second oldest.
Wow, bro.
Wow.
I had to look after these rugrats, make sure they was all in line.
How's it growing up with 11 other siblings, bro?
Man,
it was rough for me just having two brothers. You know what I mean? Like having 11
was a packed household. I'm telling you, especially on my mom's side of the family, because that's where we all were majority of the time.
Okay.
My sisters and my one brother on my mom's side of the family, and every so often I went to my father's side of the family and I spent time with everybody on that side. But as far as my brothers, they were more with their moms and grandmothers on their mom's side of the family.
Okay.
Not my father's.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right, right.
So, I seen them every so often, especially holidays and birthdays and barbecues and stuff like that. But it's like my family is just so tight knit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
You would
good.
never
Super
think
dope.
that any of my brothers and sisters are half.
Wow.
I'd probably get right upside the head if I thought my brothers half brother and sister. Honestly, that don't exist with the black
No,
family.
no,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
You don't call your brothers and sisters half brothers and
Nah,
sisters.
we brother, we
Yeah.
blood.
That's
We
so
blood.
true.
I don't care what it
Yeah.
is, we blood. But
How was that growing up with 5 girls in a house, Q?
honestly,
How was that? Were you like the mediator a lot of times?
I tried.
Okay.
Like I said,
I
I was a
missed
little
it.
shrimp back then. I didn't really have much height on me to really be taken serious. Like I
I
wanted to be.
missed it. Were you the only male in the house with the other girls?
No, I
No,
did have
another
other
brother.
uncles in the house. It was a very interesting, dysfunctional, but inspirational type of a household. We all came from a struggle at the end of the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Most of us came from some kind of a struggle. And I'm grateful for it, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
You hide from adversity too much, then how will you learn to, get through things?
Yeah.
Mm.
Right.
And I faced a lot of that as a kid. And the household that I did grow up in, it was tough. It was definitely rough. And all of my brothers and sisters are here today. And honestly,
Oh, y'all
that's
still
what
close?
matters. Yes, we're all still
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
All still close. And the way that we just kind of coexisted, it was fun. It was bad. It was ugly. It was dramatic.
But a lot
You
of
know?
broken stuff in the house.
Yeah. Yeah, a bunch of kids. I mean, but aside from that, I was primarily raised by women.
Mm.
Yeah.
I do have 7 sisters in total, but on both sides of my family, women are definitely the majority. Definitely the majority. On my mom's side of the family, things are a little more distant on my mom's side of the family. There are guys on my mom's side of the family, but they're distant.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't really around much. And the ones that were around, they weren't really anybody. Let me remix it. You can learn a lot from them,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't say that they were the most inspirational,
Yeah.
On my dad's side of the family, that's where I had more male,
Okay.
like,
Got you.
yes, had, the mentors, my big cousins, and, the college, going to college, the full ride, the full career, got everything right. I had a lot of that on my dad's side of the family. But like I said, I learned lessons from both sides in very unique ways.
What was some of the lessons you learned with growing up around the women?
Mhm.
Some of the lessons I grew up around the women.
Yeah.
Oh man, honestly, I'm very grateful for that because as a man, I've learned a lot from women, whereas a lot of other guys who weren't raised by women didn't learn.
Mm-hmm. Like what?
My soft side,
Okay.
learning how to express myself.
Yeah.
And that's something that men struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely struggle with. Being around women, being raised by women, I've seen a lot of that. Just a lot of emotion. And growing up, I've always been called emotional this, emotional that. Like,
Oh wow.
I get it. The homies, some guys weren't really around what I was around growing up. So when they say it, I beat myself up about it sometimes growing up. I felt like I'm soft or I'm too emotional. But as I've gotten older, I've understood like, all right, you know what? Being emotional is nothing wrong with being emotional. It's about controlling them, compartmentalizing.
Mm-hmm.
Not being overwhelmed or not really. How can I say? Creating anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking too far in the future rather than being present. What can I do now? What can I do about it? If I can't do nothing about it, push to the side, focus on something else, prioritize that instead. then get to what you can get to. But make sure you communicate what you need to communicate with who you need to communicate it with. So that right there just opens up a line of communication. And when I tried to do that as a kid, you know, the guys, I'm like,
I used to hate that, man.
I hate it to this day.
I used to hate that
To this
so
day,
much.
man. To this day.
Because I was the same way, you know, like I had a lot of people. I grew up, you know, it was 2 brothers, but my mom pretty much raised us by herself, right? So, so having that womanly influence around us, you know, I too was able to kind of tap into that soft side, you know what I mean? And I'm telling you, like, I used to hate it, man, like, because people used to think like that I was soft, you know, just because I wasn't, you know, but I'm just like, no, I'll whoop you. You know what I'm saying? Like all right, let's not get it twisted out here. You know what I mean?
For real.
And sometimes I hated the fact that I felt like that I had to be so tough sometimes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, it was just unnecessary because honestly, all of the tough guys that were around me, them dudes ended up in prison. It was, you know, they took alternative paths.
That's a fact.
And you know, you see the softness of me, and we've seen what I've been able to accomplish in my life.
Likewise.
Right?
Likewise.
So, you know, I embraced it after a while. I'm like, you know what? It is what it is.
Right. Definitely is what it is.
Yeah. You know, that's super dope, man. So, man, it's okay. So you got into your creative bag, right? So when did you get into like photography?
Got into photography my junior year in high school. Actually.
Okay. How did you fall into that?
I was at my track and field meet. And I wanted to critique myself. So at the time, one of my friends brought her camera. This girl I was dating at the time. And I was like, hey, I want to critique myself. Can you record me? And at the end of the track meet, she handed me the camera and I didn't know how to use it. And I've always been a curious guy. If I don't know how to use it, I'm going to learn how to use it. I don't care if I'm aspirational about it or something. I just want to know how to use it.
Yeah.
And I knew that she wouldn't have been able to make it to every single track meet. So I had to get my own camera. 2008, December, my grandmother got me a camera for my
What kind of camera
Christmas.
was it?
It was a Canon Power Shot.
Okay.
Canon Power Shot, little point.
Of course you want to know what
Little point and
Point and shoot joint. I know exactly what you're talking about.
The lenses didn't change.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It got the job done. It got the job done.
Take pictures.
You know?
A little ting ting.
So from then on, I just learned how to use the camera. I took it to the basketball games. I took it to the track meets. I took it to Delaware Park. I took it to family gatherings. And just wherever I can take that little camera with me, I took it with me. And next thing you know, Crown Entertainment. Sean hit me. He was like, yo, come take pics. Just come take pics. It was just for fun. It was just to get to know my camera. And I'm actually grateful that he did that because learning photography in low light is tough.
Yes, it is.
And it teaches you how to learn light, how to properly light your subject, just to keep it simple. Because if you're shooting in daylight all the time, yeah, it's pretty easy, generally pretty easy to get the correct exposure. But working in a dark club where you can barely see anybody and you don't have an external big old flash, I had no other choice but to learn how to properly light somebody. And that's where everything came from.
Is that still a passion of yours, even with your career right now?
Yes.
Is that still?
Photography is number one.
Is that still something you do in LA?
Yes. Photography is number one.
Okay.
The e-commerce photography, the commercial photography, the clothing lines, the product photography, the events. I still love doing events. More so nowadays, I love doing the upscale, exclusive type of events.
Okay.
Like the whole, man.
What is it?
Having to bum rush through people and the thick crowds, that's not really my style anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I went through it a lot.
Okay.
A lot.
Gotcha.
I've gotten my camera smacked out of my hand, bumped out of my hand, dropped it because of how thick the crowd is.
Yeah.
Like, I like the stuff where I can, feel like my equipment, the cost of my equipment is safe.
Yeah.
Way
Absolutely.
too much to just be in a crazy crowd.
Yeah.
And for people who don't really care much about,
Yeah.
what you've invested in. So
doing photography in LA, that has to be, a lot of opportunities, a lot of venues, a lot of upscale events.
Yes,
so how busy are you just with your photography alone out there?
with photography alone, I'm happy, but I'm still growing. So I started out at the ground in LA because I didn't really know too many people,
Yeah.
Being here in Buffalo is different because I know a lot of people. So the business was coming in.
Mhm.
I didn't even have to put anything out. People were
Right.
just reaching out. In LA, I had to hustle and
Gotta
bustle,
work.
really get my name
Yeah.
out there and stuff like that. And then I came up on a photography agent, and she's a photographer herself. And she gets so many things thrown at her that she's not able to tackle every single gig she gets. So she got an umbrella and put a couple photographers under that. Whoever lasted, cool. Whoever didn't, cool. But it helped me get out there because she booked me upscale gigs, like stuff with Condoleezza Rice. In a room full of the
Wow.
owners with Lexus, Hyundai, Acura, Toyota, Condoleezza Rice. It was probably 9 people total. And that one room probably was
Was worth
$1 billion in that room. Because
Right.
Condoleezza was out here
Pockets.
trying to buy a football team. She was trying to buy the Denver Broncos. So
Man,
in a
that's all
restaurant,
you need.
about 8 people, and they just wanted me to take photos of them eating and just chatting. And I'm like, wow,
Wow.
that's the type of stuff that she books for me. The big upscale, the
Yeah.
exclusive. I got to sign an NDA contract. If you want something for your portfolio, email me the photos you need, and we'll let you know.
oh wow,
If
it's
it's
like
okay.
that.
Wow.
It ain't just
Put
like
it on my
Right.
website,
yeah,
post it up.
yeah.
We will let you know if it's okay.
So, oh my goodness, it's leaving my head. No, come back.
Wait,
Go ahead, Jamil.
so with that, you have to like
Yeah.
give them your card and everything. Like when you're shooting, do you give them your card to?
So no,
How does that work?
with the agent that I did have, I didn't have to do that
Okay,
because of the NDA contract.
okay, gotcha.
Unless I wanted problems,
Yeah.
Okay,
you know, I did what I had to do. I kept it professional. She said, pretty much, when I finish the event, if I'm able to email them immediately after, go ahead and do that. But I do need them within 24 hours.
Okay.
Because she did have her
They
own
want that quick
retouching team.
turnaround time.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's listen. You
And the
always
pay was
say
worth
that.
it. The pay was worth it. Sometimes, honestly, right after the gig, I pull up my laptop, sit in my car,
Yeah.
Yeah,
do what I got to do. Sent.
Yep.
Hey, everything is just sent. Boom. I'm on my way home.
Absolutely.
Payment sent.
Absolutely.
Done.
So the thing that came to mind is, so you partner with somebody. One thing Jay always says is like social capital is so important. So can you talk about how like having social capital had like how that has been the elevation to what you do?
Man, your net worth is your network. Your network is
Is your net worth.
There we go. You get me. Flip flop. But
Yeah.
definitely out in LA, because you never know who you're talking to out there.
yeah.
Right.
Even for the people that you don't really care about hanging with or being around, you never really know
Who they are.
who they are
That's true.
or who they know.
Right.
Just be you, honestly. Be you at the end of the day, because people will gravitate towards somebody who's thorough, somebody who's genuine and authentic. They will gravitate towards you. And from there, that's when you start to just gauge who you're dealing with. You know what I mean? Talk about what you're comfortable with talking about. Keep it on the shallow end. And you can possibly lead to some kind of dope connection, whether it's with them or they like, yo, you're dope. I seen what you did. Or I like how you dress. Like, who are you? Like, what do you do? I get that a lot. And a lot of people get that a lot. I hear. I listen. I'm a very, how can I say, observative person.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead.
oh, as far as the whole, your network is your net worth, it holds a lot of weight,
Yeah.
especially in a city like LA, because it's a bunch of creatives. And people would say that it's oversaturated. But me, you walk down a bread aisle. How many different brands of bread do you see?
A
Yeah.
whole bunch.
A whole bunch.
Yeah.
Everybody is making the same thing. Just only difference is ingredients.
Right.
You could be a photographer. You could be a photographer. I can be a photographer. But what are your ingredients?
Right.
Somebody out there needs your style.
It's room for
Somebody out
everybody
there
to
needs
eat.
your
Right.
eye.
Yeah.
So don't ever let anything discourage you about that. But meeting a lot of people in LA and networking with a lot of people in LA is what will definitely take you to the next level. For sure.
So I'm so glad you said that, because that was actually going to go into my next question. I was going to say, if someone was trying to go out to another city or state and start from the ground up. So you said that meeting new people and, networking is
Yes.
big. Are there any other gems or tips that you would give someone who wanted to start in another city from the ground up with whatever it was they were doing?
I would tell them to visit a couple of times before they make that leap. Visit a couple of times. Just so you can have somewhat of I wouldn't say a circle, but at least a handful of business connects, just in case things may go south for you at some point, you got a couple of people who do work with you consistently.
Okay.
You know, they will look forward like, hey, so-and-so and so, let's call him up. I would definitely say visit a couple of times first so you can network with a couple of people. Find a couple of networking events to go to. Those are the big things. Those are big in LA. Networking events are big. You got the actors, the models, the photographers, the graphic designers. You got
everything.
And you can find a couple of connects out there. So then when you make your leap, hopefully you positioned yourself for consistent income. I would say that would be next. Position yourself for consistent income in a city like that. Any city, honestly.
Yeah.
But and then once you do that, I would say base where you look for your apartment. 10, 15 minutes.
10, 15 minutes.
15 minutes. But those would be the top things that I would say before anybody moves to a city like LA.
Do you think it was necessary for you to move in order for you to elevate in your career?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I tell people it's power in proximity, right? So, you know, you have to be in the environment.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
It's like if you spend too long in the same place around the same people doing the same things, how do you really grow?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So that's your photography. So talk about how you moved into acting. So now you act. So what made you get into that?
2017 in Buffalo, the first Purge.
I remember that. Yeah. I remember you were in the movie. Yeah. You remember The Purge? The first Purge they recorded? Have you ever seen The Purge?
No.
Oh,
The Purge? No?
Yeah, The Purge is an amazing. I love that film. Actually, The first Purge was probably my favorite one, and not because they shot it in Buffalo.
Yeah,
you know, I'm not being biased just because they shot it. It was actually a really, really good movie.
Yeah,
and he was actually in that film.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah,
was you an extra?
I was a couple of things. It was organized chaos, and a lot of people just kept flaking on them. So they just had to find the next available person. Hey, can you fit this? Throw this on. Can you do this? Can you stay?
Wow.
It was a lot. I did background. I did henchmen. I did just a whole bunch of different stuff. And it worked out. I did stand in and I didn't even look like the guy.
They needed anybody.
They needed anybody, but the experience
they
was
all look
awesome.
alike.
Don't do that.
Oh, my bad.
So that's where it that's when it became real.
Okay.
You know, getting into acting. Before then, it was like, you know what? Hey, Keith, you got the look. You should get in front of the camera. You should do blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, yeah. But I didn't really have any mentors to guide me down that path to do what I had to do to actually execute that. But then, first Purge came to Buffalo. One of my homies introduced me to the producer, and I was photographing an event at that time. So the producer walked up to me. He was like, hey, man, so this is my name, and this is what we're doing, and this is when it's coming to Buffalo. But I need a lot of big guys, like big, grizzly, gangster-looking guys. And I'm like, all right, well, why'd you ask me? He was like, well, you're a nightclub photographer, and I'm pretty sure you know a lot of security guards and stuff. I was like,
oh,
that makes sense.
Okay, makes sense.
There's a lot of big guys.
Yeah.
A lot of big guys. So he was like, you know what? If you can find me some big guys, I'm not going to promise you a role in a movie, but I can get you in a movie. It may or may not have lines. So next day, he hit me up, and he was like, hey, I got you an audition. Like I said, it's no promises. It's all up to you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I actually auditioned for the main role, the lead role. Light-skinned cat looked pretty much just like me, probably 4 inches shorter. And this is when I had my big beard.
Okay, beard game.
And they asked me, they was like, would you be willing to cut your beard?
That's what I was about to say. I was about to say, oh.
No.
They said, would you be willing to cut your beard? And
That
I was
beard-
like, I don't know.
That beard was like gold. Like his beard was like beard goals back then.
Really?
Yeah, man.
That's about like 6-7 inches.
Yeah, that was nice and full and,
well kept,
shiny.
all that.
Oh, Keith.
I said, I don't know. And that's what messed me all up. Honestly, I feel like the uncertainty is what made them look another direction because they flew Guy out from the UK.
Oh, wow.
They flew him out from the UK. And I'm pretty sure they would have been looking to save an extra dollar.
Absolutely.
As far as the look, I had to look. And this was 2017. So what, this was 5 years ago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
5 years ago, me without a beard, I look like I'm 2021. And that's what
Wait, did they want you to cut it all off or just like shave it down the way?
At least to look like I was about 21 years old. To look like I was the little brother of the female lead role.
Yeah, got you.
So
That's
young enough.
Actually, the dude that they flew out here from the UK, my homegirl who lives in the UK, that's one of her good friends.
Yeah,
you know
that's still the homie. That's still the homie. He's Cyborg right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's Cyborg in the Teen Titans.
Yeah,
he's doing his thing.
He's doing his thing.
Wow.
He's doing his thing, man. So from there, I didn't get that role, and they hit me and said, "Hey, we need you to be a henchman," or so on and so forth. Because I did end up getting them some big guys, a couple firefighters, a couple police officers, a couple security guards, and they all did their thing. And a lot of familiar faces from the city, and it's dope. It's dope. I was a part of that.
I've seen a lot of those faces too.
That little piece.
Seen some of them henchmen in the garage. I remember that.
I ended up being on set for about 2.5 weeks or so.
Okay.
And that was about a year before I moved to LA.
Okay.
And I did some background work in like 2 other movies after that in the new year, 2018. And things got real as far as like just me making that leap to LA.
Yeah. And you started, like, once you got out there, I mean, things really started to take off. I mean, you were, started doing national commercials.
Yeah.
You were doing the game shows. It was Supermarket
Sweep, man.
Yeah.
Supermarket Sweep.
I remember that.
Childhood. Oh my
so
God.
nostalgic right there.
Yeah,
Oh
I remember.
God, I was watching that.
How did you land that, bro?
So bring it back to when I first moved to LA. So I was on tour with 2 separate companies as a photographer. One of the tours produced shows for kids, dance competitions and stuff like that. And the other one was like ice skating and all this other kind of cool stuff, honestly. A little different, a little outside of my comfort zone. That was all of 2019. And then 2020 hit. I auditioned for Joseph Bank. And that's how I got into commercial acting. It filmed on my birthday, February 22nd. 3 weeks before COVID hit.
Oh.
Sheesh. 3 weeks before COVID hit.
Wow.
Yep. So that was my first ever national commercial, ever lead role in anything. No lines, just can you make the facial expressions? Can you sing happy birthday? Can you, do stuff like this because you're going to be a father? And I was like, oh, okay. I originally auditioned to be a barber because that's what I've been doing for the longest. Before I was even a photographer, it was always barbering. So I was like, you know what? That's something I could resonate with. I'm going to audition for a barber role. And then they had somebody else who came in, he auditioned for it. And then they called me back in. They was like, you know what? Can you audition for this too? I was like, yeah, why not? So that's what they ended up picking me for the father role, the young father role in Joseph Bank. It was print and commercial. Wow. 3 weeks before COVID hit. So COVID hits, world was shut down. And what was this? Came back to Buffalo for about 3 months.
Okay.
From like May to July. And got back to LA 3rd, 4th quarter of 2021. And August is when we filmed Supermarket Sweep. Because back in December of 2019 is when I shot out, it was like this little questionnaire. I didn't know where it was going to go. I just seen a casting call for a game show. No name, no nothing, just a game show. And I clicked on it. It was about 75 questions. I was like, ooh, 75 questions.
My gosh.
I was bored. I was like,
I had time.
Yeah, I got enough time right now.
Why not? Let's just do it. 5 minutes after I hit submit on it, the producers called me. no exaggeration, 5 minutes after I hit submit on that questionnaire,
Wow.
they called me and said, "Hey, we love everything you said on this. Let's ask you all those questions again."
What?
I understand though. I understand now. They wanted to put some energy behind those answers.
Got you.
You know,
Okay.
They wanted to gauge if
Okay.
that's actually the real person that they're getting from what they just put
Yeah,
down.
not
Okay.
some dry
Okay.
representation of.
Exactly.
Got it.
Oh,
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay.
So then they said, "Hey, do you have anybody else in mind that you would want to be your teammate?" So then I hit up my cousin. I was like, "Yo, cuz, so and so and so, so and so and so. Let's do this. I never did it before. I don't know what the name of the show is, but let's go for it."
Mm-hmm.
So all of this is still just going on. This process is just long and driven out because of COVID. They were supposed to film it the first week of April 2020. But because COVID got real mid-March, they was like, you know what? We're just going to keep in contact. About every other week, they reach out to us, email us, video chat us, say, how's everything going? Is everything well and healthy? We don't know when we're shooting, but we're just calling to reach out and keep you guys posted. Finally, when I got back from Buffalo to LA, beginning of August, that's when we finally shot Supermarket Sweep. Mm-hmm.
Did that being in Supermarket Sweep, did that do anything for your career?
Only God knows, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Who's seen it? Who saw it? Who watched it? And
I saw it. I watched it. It was fun.
Whatever
It was
came
fun
from
watching
it, I couldn't tell you exactly what came from it.
Okay.
Because if something did, they probably weren't gonna mention, "Oh yeah, we seen you on this. This is why we called you."
Oh, yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So only God knows.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if something did, I appreciate it, and I took advantage of it in the best possible way I could.
Yeah. So let's transition now, right?
Yeah.
It's because you're in LA now. You're getting work from photography. You're getting national commercials. You're on game shows and such.
Mhm.
And then in I believe it was 2022.
Yeah, same here.
You decided, I want to kind of go in a different direction, right? And
Just a little bit.
and you decided that you wanted to, compete in pageants.
Yeah.
Talk about that, bro.
Yeah.
Like, how,
What was-
It's
was
a
that?
very interesting story, to be honest. December 2021, I got a audition notice for a men's swimwear photo shoot, commercial, and that's what I went in for. We had to take our shirt off, get into the swim trunks, do a walk back and forth, say our name, put our stuff back on, and leave. As I was getting dressed to leave, one of the casting directors called me back, like, "Hey, get back here." Not like, call me back,
Mhm.
like, "Hey, come back here. I want to talk to you." And I was like, "Hey, what's up?" He was like, "Have you ever walked in a fashion show or competed in a male pageant before?" And I was like, "Fashion show? No, I've never walked in a fashion show before. Male pageants? I've never even heard of them."
Right. Right.
I've never heard of a male pageant
Yeah.
until the day he brought it to my attention.
Mhm.
Pageants for women.
Right.
Miss USA, Miss New York, Miss
Mhm.
California. You hear about this? I've been hearing about this since I was in high school.
Mhm.
But I've never, ever in my life heard about a male pageant until
Right.
that day. And he was like, "You know what? Your physique is very symmetrical. You're not too bulky. You're not too slim. Your face is good shape. You know what? You mind getting in your swim trunks again and doing another walk for me, giving me your height, your age, and your name?" I was like, "Yeah, no problem." I did that, and he said, "You know what? I'm gonna send this up to my team and see what they say. If they like you, I'll get back to you."
Mhm.
So 2022 comes, March. I get a call, and he was like, "Keith, you remember back in December, you had this audition for the swimwear, and I spoke to you about this pageant that's going on. Yeah, we've been looking for your numbers since the beginning of January."
Looking for you.
What?
Why didn't they have your number?
I guess they lost it. From what I can recall him telling me, he said he lost it.
Beginning of January. Wow.
That same guy. Little did I know, he's the CEO of the pageant that I was in, the new owner. I
You
didn't
never
know
know
that.
who you're talking to.
Wow. Never know who you're talking to.
Wow.
I had no idea.
Mm.
That's crazy. So, you got introduced to pageants. You decided to compete.
Yeah.
But not only did you decide to, you know what, I'm going to, try my hand at this pageantry thing,
Mhm.
but you actually won.
You won.
You won,
You
bro.
won, Keith.
Yeah.
You won. So tell us like what was going through your mind, like just going through the whole process. Like, okay, you're in this pageant, never heard of a male pageant before
at all,
but now you're in one, and then and now you're about to go represent this country on an international stage because you actually won the pageant here.
Right.
Like that's amazing. Like, kind of talk to us about that a bit.
So when I got that call in March saying, "Hey, we want you," I got on a couple of calls with them, filled out a couple of forms, and it was official. From that moment on, I was like, all right, cool. I got until the end of May to get ready. I got 2.5-ish months to get ready. So I tapped back into my nature of just my discipline, my diet, my meal preps, gym, all of that. I did my research. I looked into things. I've asked around. I've asked other people some questions. Maybe they might know. I'm like, all right, you in the fashion industry. Do you know anything about this? And whoever told me what they could, I took away from it what I could. I watched a couple of pageants on YouTube. I fell down a rabbit hole. I had to.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was something I had no idea what I was getting into.
Right.
And that all helped my confidence. Like, all right, cool. I see exactly what's going on. Male beauty pageants. The typical mindset would think, male beauty pageants. That sounds very feminine.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is,
Smidge.
The crazy thing is, male beauty pageants are much more than what meets the eye. It's more about, what do you stand for? What are your aspirations? What are you inspirational about? Just your cleanliness, your grooming, your everything. Like, have you given back? Who are your mentors? Who are the people that got you to this point? It's so much more than what you look like, and a lot more of what comes out of your mouth.
It almost sounds like a humanitarian sort of thing, like the type of human you are, the type of person you are in your community. I would say so,
because they're looking for gentlemen. They're definitely looking for gentlemen, not just on the outside, but everything about you. Okay. Well-rounded in every way. The way you treat yourself, the way you treat people, the way you get along with people. Do you get along with people?
Right.
Like simple stuff that we all should have been taught growing up. That's honestly what the big test is. When you're on that stage, that's what they're testing you on. Okay. You already look good. You're here. We approved of you to even be in this pageant because of how you look.
Yeah.
But for you to advance,
you gotta have some substance to it.
Gotta have some substance.
Wow.
Gotta go beyond the. Gotta go beyond the surface.
So far beyond the surface.
See, I would have never thought that, especially because they still have the word beauty in it. You would think that they're still looking at just the outside. Yeah.
And if you think about it, for the women pageants, the women beauty pageants, a lot of the women look good, but they be putting them through the works on that stage.
Yeah.
They ask them so many questions. What have you done? School, the life, everything.
They do.
So both women and male pageants are so much more than what meets the eye.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, Keith, you got this. You got this. And I understand it and I appreciate it because, I got the look. I understand. Yes. But listen, y'all, I'm like, it's tougher than you think. It's tougher than you think.
Yeah,
I promise you.
And I can attest to that too. I actually judged a couple of pageants before. I judged the Miss Buffalo pageant. Also judged as part of the Miss New York pageant. I think it was Miss Brooklyn pageant. I think it was. This is way back in the day, and I actually had hair at that time. So you know how long ago that was. That was.
Every time we tell a story, we gotta say, I used to have hair.
I had to qualify it, back then, back in my day, but you're absolutely right. There's so much more to just, just the surface level stuff, right?
Yes.
That physical, that beauty part to it. Because honestly, even when I was judging, because all the women were beautiful, right?
Yes.
Everybody's beautiful.
Yes.
What else can you bring to the table?
What makes you stand out?
What's going to make you stand out? And it was the ones who that really had that thing to them, that ish. And it was like, okay, this person is the one. You know what I mean? And she probably didn't even look as good as
Right.
the best looking person on
Yes.
the stage.
Right.
But
Yes.
she looked good, but she also had substance to her as well.
The way you think, the way you talk, the way you present yourself,
Yeah.
all of that. So just getting myself ready in every single aspect, like every aspect I possibly could. Like talking to myself, having conversations with myself, like
I do that all
asking
the time.
myself questions like, what does this mean to me? If they ask me this question, what would I say?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've never been great at speaking about myself.
Mhm.
And this was the ultimate test because they're going to want to know about you thoroughly. And if you can't get that across eloquently and confidently to the point where they believe every word coming out of your mouth, you know, sometimes you hear some people talk and you get that little chill like, oh, that was real.
Mhm.
I like that. Keep going.
Because sometimes it seems scripted too, you know, with some
Yeah.
people, right?
Yeah.
Because like you can tell it's not really authentic to them
Yeah.
because it just sounds rehearsed.
Right.
It sounds like, okay, yeah, you've been practicing this line over and over again
Yeah.
instead of it like just being really authentic
Yes.
to who you are. Yeah.
I think what's interesting though is that one thing that you said growing up with women is that you learn how to express yourself.
Yes.
So for you, there's a difference between expressing yourself and talking about yourself.
Yes. Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
That's a big difference. Yeah.
Yes. Because
Yeah.
Big difference.
talking about yourself, that comes down to how self-aware are you?
Okay.
You know,
I can get that.
how self-aware are you? Whereas expressing how you feel about something or how something affected you, I would definitely say it's two different things. Talking about yourself and expressing yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you more comfortable now talking about yourself being through?
I'm getting there.
You're getting there?
I'm
okay.
getting there.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
getting there, especially with stuff like this. This is helping.
Yeah.
honestly, because I might do one more pageant.
I was about to ask you.
I was about to
I was about to see. I was definitely going to ask you, like, do you see yourself doing another pageant? again?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm on contract as Mr. Supranational United States up until the next one in 2023 goes. And I sash the next reigning Mr. Supranational USA.
Okay.
From there, that's when I can go to another pageant company, no matter where it is in the world, I can do that. But yeah, I can say I got about one more in me, and a lot of them have an age cap.
Okay.
So that's something that I also have to be aware of. It's a couple of pageants that I would have loved to have been a part of next year, but
That's crazy. Like you say a couple pageants, and I've never heard of a male pageant before this
Yeah.
one.
So it must be big. It's big in LA.
I wouldn't say it's big in LA. It's just that male pageants in the United States aren't really big. They're not popular. But once you step foot outside of the United States,
Oh, like usual.
they live
It's,
and
it's kind of like
breathe
soccer.
pageants.
You know how you and I was just saying.
Yeah,
They live
Yeah.
and breathe pageants, and like it's amazing. It's amazing.
See,
Like,
but that's so interesting because I feel like male pageants here would be huge because women will go.
You think so? Oh, I can't speak for y'all. Like, I'm just asking the question. Don't be looking at me like I'm just asking the question.
honestly, I question the same thing. Why aren't they as big in the United States? Like, and even still to this day, how big pageants for women are, they should be trying to help male pageants get some kind of recognition.
I think it's probably because
Something.
it's, and this is just me just spitballing right now, but I think it's possibly because there's this stigma that's attached to, you know, manhood and masculinity here
Yes.
in this country, right? And you talk about pageantry,
Yeah.
you know, that's not exactly what people would consider masculine,
Yeah.
you know, so it's just like, okay, we're not gonna push
Yeah.
this thing out.
Well,
as
see,
much.
but the simple thing is because of what a male pageant actually is, if they change the name though, it's still the same thing. So if it's not called male beauty pageant and like a gentleman something, it's the same thing.
So the thing is, a lot of pageants have different names, and none of them actually say male beauty pageant.
okay,
Like the one that I was in is called Mr. Supranational. Supra. Mr.
Yeah.
Supranational.
Yeah.
It has nothing anywhere in any fine print, or at least marketing wise, you're not going to see it says male beauty
male
pageant.
beauty pageant. Okay.
You'll see pageant for all of the names of the different pageants. You got Mr. International, you got Mr. World Universe. I'm just There's so many out there that I don't really know the correct name, but that's what they call them. It says nothing about male beauty pageant.
Wow.
It's just what it is. And the stigmas that sit on them and the reasons why other people, other men aren't joining them. Like I would love to, see them diversify a lot more and to get huge in the United States, because the United States, it's a big platform.
Yes.
And there's a lot of money in the United States to fuel and build like the pageantry in the United States for men. Like I can definitely see that. So that's another reason why I followed through on even competing in the pageant, is because I was like, you know what? It's something new. I've never done it before. And if I can help in any kind of way, inspire anybody to look beyond what a stigma may say. You don't want to do it because your homies think. You don't want to do it because your friends or so on and so forth thinks this about it. No, man, do it because it has the potential to change your life. It has the potential to change your life. The platform it gives you, the people you meet, the opportunities you come across, traveling. Like I can say to this day, like from the guys that I met in the pageant here in the United States, it was 22 guys in that pageant. Now I got 22 brothers in the United States that I can hit up. Like, hey, yo, I'm about to visit your city. What's up? Let's go.
Like a fraternity, man.
Yeah.
Now for the international pageant, I got over 30 brothers.
Oh my goodness. Right.
I can visit any country, almost any country in the world. Like, hey, man, I'm coming to Greece. What's up, bro? It's a brotherhood for life.
Yeah.
It's a brotherhood for life. And I wish I knew about pageants sooner. I wish I knew about pageants sooner. A lot of these guys, they've been doing pageants back to back to back. And I'm like, wow. I can only imagine if I've known about it sooner.
Yeah. This is one thing I love about this podcast. It's called We Are the Ones, right? And I think you are epitomizing what this podcast is about.
I appreciate that.
Right. No, and I mean that because maybe, you having the exposure, to, male pageantry and really and giving it some light, right? Maybe you're going to be that one that's going to like really start to change the perspective about what pageantry is for men here in this country. Because like we said, unfortunately it's, there's still stigmas and all that type of stuff, but because you were able to do it, and here you are, you're as masculine as they come, right? You're well put together. Yeah. You always carry yourself well, well mannered, well respected, great shape, good looking guy. And here we go. Like, okay, you're going to be that person to start to change the perspective.
I'm gonna be some way, somehow.
You're the one.
Some way, somehow.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that I've inspired a lot of guys to even just consider it. Yeah. Like I hope that I've done just that much, because the season is coming up again and it's time to, start submitting towards them things and getting ready and preparing yourself for that. So
I'm gonna get my summer body together and I'm gonna think about it, man.
Make it happen.
I'm gonna get my summer. I'm 40 plus, but I can still get it. I need that Keith Williams workout regimen, because funny enough, I remember when Keith first started working out. Keith didn't look the way he did, the way he does now.
I came a long way.
He came a long way. Listen, because I remember, LA Fitness. I think I actually worked out with you maybe once or twice too. You know what I mean? It was over at LA Fitness. Yeah. And Keith was just starting, just getting done, but he was consistent with it. He's very consistent with it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. As opposed to myself. Had some things going on, y'all. Had some things, but no. You are doing amazing things, brother. What's next for you? Yeah. What's next?
I'm still planning right now.
Okay.
I am still focusing on everything that we've spoken about, as far as photography, acting. I do plan on taking another leap into acting a little deeper, as far as, finding an agent and, doing what I can with that. Because everything that I've ever been in, as far as commercials, TV game shows and stuff, I've booked that stuff for myself. Like I've done smaller other projects and commercials and photo shoots and stuff, but I'm like, man, if I had an agent, I can definitely take this to the next level. So I would say that's next.
That's next. Okay.
And get that agent, man.
We'll be looking out for you, Keith.
Yeah.
We'll be looking out for you.
I got a few contacts out in LA too, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I
would definitely love to connect, man.
Yeah, you know, I keep the.
I was about to say,
book.
this dude.
You know what I'm saying?
His black book.
Yeah, it's strong. It's certainly strong. But if people wanted to reach you, learn more about you, you know, how can they reach you? Social media, things like that.
Social media, Instagram, official Keith W. Okay. I'm not really much of a TikToker or Twitter person.
You're not dancing on TikTok.
hey.
No. Okay.
I barely even scroll through TikTok.
Yeah, me neither, bro. I don't either.
The TikTok spirit might hit me sometime soon, but right now,
nah, I don't.
Yeah, it's okay.
So
it's
Instagram is where it begins and where it ends. Okay. Official Keith W. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming, Keith. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of We Are the Ones podcast. Make sure you follow us across all streaming platforms. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on Audible. Make sure y'all go on Audible and get listen to that podcast. iHeart, everywhere you like to listen to podcasts, we are there. You can follow us on Instagram as well at We Are the Ones podcast, Facebook as well. And also on YouTube. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
So until then, we really appreciate y'all.
Keep winning on purpose.
That's it, y'all.
Thanks for checking out another episode of We Are the Ones podcast.
Make sure you subscribe and listen to our podcast on any of your favorite streaming platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and even on Audible.
And then make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram at We Are the Ones podcast. And make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share. Because remember, you are not just the one. We are the ones.